Nsribom, Srubium Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, when we resumed in the 9th National Assembly, the entire Nigeria and press houses through their editorials set an agenda for the 9th National Assembly. And prior on that agenda were two critical issues away from economic growth. Number one was the PIB, and then the second one was the electoral reforms. And I think it's not a coincidence that we are undertaking second reading of those two critical pieces of legislation today. And I believe that we are in line with the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, as if that was not enough, in your vision and the vision of leadership, you brought the legislative agenda, and which titled Our Contract with Nigerians. And specifically in page 53 under governance, legislative interventions were to include electoral reforms. And I am saying this that to justify the fact that this bill, this amendment to Electoral Act is timely, and it is in line with the expectations, the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I believe that the cravings, the urge of Nigerians are the critical provisions that will make for electoral integrity. Critical provisions that will make for electoral integrity. And at the core of that, Mr. Speaker, is the voting system, accreditation and voting. Nigerians don't really ask about campaign finances. Nigerians don't really bother about other sundry issues. Yes, they are right to be done. We are growing into that perfect society. But as of now, the concern of Nigerians is how do we engender confidence of Nigerians in the electoral process. So the issue of card reader, Mr. Speaker, and the enshrinement of that in our law to give it a legal backing is quite apt, and I support it, and my constituent has asked me to support it. Mr. Speaker, the issue of electronic voting, which has been at the forefront, the front burner of discourse when we talk about the electoral process, electoral reforms, is very key. So how do we strengthen electronic voting system to ensure that we have integrity and electoral process, Mr. Speaker? So I believe that these are the two issues at the core of electoral reforms, that others are issues that I believe that we are going to handle at constitutional amendment. Issue of delineation of constituencies, state constituencies, federal constituencies, issue of independent candidacy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to draw our attention to the proposal of amendment as advocated for in section 53, sub 2 and 3, under overvoting. Mr. Speaker, if by reason of our electoral process that we are asked to vote and have the number of voters, the number of vote cast correspond with the numbers of accredited voters. Anything short of that, Mr. Speaker, is a malpractice. Anything short of that is a violation of the Act. So we cannot encourage the violation of the Act by asking for election to be conducted in another date to cure overvoting. That would be encouraging criminality, Mr. Speaker. So instead it reads, where the vote cast at an election in any polling unit exceed the number of accredited voters in that polling unit, the result of the election for that polling unit shall be declared null and void by the Commission. Fantastic. And another election may be conducted at a date to be fixed by the Commission, where the result of that polling unit may affect the overall result of the constituency. Mr. Speaker, we cannot encourage an act that is, we cannot allow people to reap the benefit of a violation of our law. So we should not talk about the conduct of election in a situation where we had overvoting. It should be total annulment and cancellation, not minding the outcome of that in the generality of the election of that local government or that unit or that federal constituency, Mr. Speaker.